Hello and welcome as I attempt to explain what was going on in Season 22. This season was the season of the sun, as we saw Sun Point 1 be introduced as a new weather. This meant each consecutive inning granted a team 0.1 more run for each run, meaning scoring later in the game gave higher results, and also meaning there were 4 active suns in the ILB. Yet, this is to increase, as all of the decree options for this election are suns, and 3 will pass, giving us 7 active suns. So pack your sunscreen and hope the fans can open a sunglasses crate. The boss appeared at the SIESTA to announce Blaseball's upcoming semi-centennial, promising a celebration and lots of fun. There were markedly little threats or thinly veiled panic in this appearance. Having discovered Parker Macmillan in the library in the last season, he became restless, attempting to roam. This was very worrying for fans, as Parker has the Firewalker modification, meaning whenever he changes team, he leaves instability behind. He also has Super Roaming, meaning he would change teams every 9 days. As we have now seen from the library and the hall, whole teams can be incinerated, and if Parker were to enter the ILB, that could be disastrous. Thankfully, Parker is currently in the vault, as he is legendary, and also has the Force modification, preventing him from moving. But it is not preventing him from trying. We also see the continuation of Silver Roadhouse's debt, as they make 13 players unstable. But again, none of these players have been incinerated. The late season was very eventful. We saw Thieves' Guild ratified into law, granting every ballpark a guild of thieves who could allow thefts from opponents when a home team loses by 9 runs. This has already seen teams losing both items and players from their shadows. The Breath Mints installed new anti-flood pumps, allowing their ballpark to get filthy. But the main event was in the gift shop, as legends of old who had been unredacted in the library were available as replicas. We saw 15 teams opt for the dynamic duo as consumer defense, and 9 of the library replicas, along with appearances from Goodwin Morin, Alden Cash Money, Valentine Games, and Pitching Machine. With all these replicas on offer, modifications were low on the uptake, but Ambitious and Fireproof remained popular, particularly with Unstable in the mix. In the postseason, we see the wildcard lift sweep the Firefighters, but the Moist Talkers take it to 5 games before losing to the Pies. The lift then beat number 1 wild seed the Georgias, while the Pies lose to reigning champions the Crabs, who then face up against the Sunbeams and the Breath Mints respectively. We see the Mints sweep the Crabs, preventing them from getting consecutive titles, while the remaining under-champion Sunbeams activate Black Hole twice, granting the lift the Wild League title in 3 games. So Wildcard's Tokyo Lift face the Breath Mints, who managed to trend on Twitter following their success, and it is the Breath Mints who win to become the Season 22 champions. So, Breath Mints good? On the flip side, we see both Wildcard's Worms and Garages knocked out, and their opponents, the Spies and the Millennials, beat the Tigers and Magic to progress to the Wild and Mild League titles, where they faced the Dale and the Fridays. The Millennials continued their journey, but the Spies were beaten by the Dale. But in the final, it was the Dale who were victorious and crowned champions of the Underbracket. During the season, we saw the Black Hole activate 33 times, and Sun 2 32 times. There were 150 parties, but consumer attacks were at an all-time low, with just 4 occurrences. We saw 2 reverbs, both for the Dale's rotation, 3 incinerations in the Earl season and nothing since, and no feedbacks at all. Cudi de Batterino was shelled by Peanutile Duffy, and we saw Wyatt Glover ascend to their rightful status of legendary. You join me now for the announcement of the 5th Base World Tour. Following sellout performances at venues across the ILB, 5th Base is delighted to have had a successful Season 22, playing to crowds across Atlantis, Tokyo and Dallas. Currently in negotiations with support artist Baldwin Breadwinner, 5th Base are expecting to announce future dates soon, and want to thank fans for the great experience it's been so far. With the emergence of replicas from the library, we also gained some new modifications, such as Trader, which allows a player to trade items with an opponent. This modification was possessed by all the new Megan Itos and saw them trade opposing players for nothing, leaving the opponents empty-handed and new Megan Itos with a selection of cool stuff. The Millennials had an unexpected event in the Earl season, as all of their pitchers were swept elsewhere, leaving them asking the familiar question, who throws the ball? The answer, as it always has been, was pitching machine. But this was a new pitching machine, as the original had been vaulted and now could only play as a replica. But before fans had time to react, pitching machine was replaced by fax machine for Theodore Cervantes. Thank you for joining me for another Blaxplanation. I'll be back with more Blaseball fun and facts soon, but until then, rejoice, play ball.